All right. I want to start by thanking Naz and Alex for inviting us out here to have a talk about the new shift that's coming. We've coined a new term for the industry. We're calling it Agentic Hotel Distribution. So we're going to walk through that today. So let's start with what the original promise of the web was. With the original promise, a user could create content. Google would sit in the middle. It would surface it. It would make it relevant to users. And for doing that exchange, there was also an ad platform that paid for this service. That promise is being broken now with Google and with AI native channels as well. The expectation of a visitor of a session in exchange for your content is no longer the exchange with AI native channels. So we are going to talk about how this is broken and how we're going to get around this with Agentic Hotel Distribution. So that promise is broken. All the way back to the invention of the web was never a stable environment for hospitality. We sell rooms. And when you create a website, you're creating a website brochure. It's static content by default. The rooms never lived on a hotel website. They always resided in a booking engine on some other URL. So you never sold a room. So what the opportunity here is today is we have an HTML site. We have product feeds, and Google is monetizing those product feeds. That's where this broke down. So when you see these product feeds, we all know Hotel Ad Center, right? And they're taking chunks of commission straight out of our money. So 50% of bookings now are commissionable that come through hotels, be it Booking, Expedia, or Google Travel, and you don't get the data, right? They don't pass down the consumer's information. You get an email with Expedia Central for all the bookings, and maybe you're lucky enough to get a first name of a guest. That's all they're passing, and that's not fair. Direct bookings, it all goes through the OTAs, the intermediaries. So that presents a new opportunity to change. And that's a new AI promise, and with that's going to bring agentic hotel distribution, making your rates inventory portable. Not living just on your website anymore, but living in AI native channels. So let's take a look at what this does at the AI promise. We're still going to be supported by ads, right? We're not going to get rid of ads. Google is starting to show its hand at how it's putting max ads inside of AI mode, inside of AI overviews. ChatGPT is going to leverage ads as well in their environment. We have to be prepared for that and understand that's how it's going to work. But with the AI promise, what it changes is we're no longer creating static web pages anymore. We can create agent sites today. We can bring the product from the booking engines. We can surface it directly on the website. So now when a user comes into a website, you have two endpoints. You have a human side of the website, and you have a machine-readable JSON page. And when you create an MCP, and you direct traffic to that MCP endpoint, it's going to the JSON example, pulling in that live rates inventory. That feed that is typically hidden behind your booking engine is now being surfaced to AI native channels through a JSON endpoint on every URL. So if you want to see what it looks like, go find a Shopify store. At the end of a Shopify store, you can put products after the URL /products, and then put .json, and you will see from every Shopify 1 million stores the product feed. That's the merchant feed that Google set up a cost center, Hotel Ad Center, to monetize. You don't have to do that anymore. If you surface through agentic hotel distribution, you can get a lesser cost commission through these channels. So that's the new opportunity, is you're combining the HTML with the product feed, surfacing it directly on the website. You're not burying it in a booking engine anymore. So what does that allow us to do? It allows us to retain the conversion details. It allows us to reclaim that guest journey. And lastly, it allows us to reinforce direct bookings and total lifetime value of our customers. We're not renting our customers out to OTAs or intermediaries anymore. We get to own our customers, our own guests, and even the conversation can be passed down to the PMS, to the front desk, to the concierge, so that if Sandra wants to do that dolphin cruise, they know at the front desk or at the concierge counter that she's looking for those tickets. So what is the shift that we have coming? The shift is from these static HTML sites and even apps to a more AI native platform. AI is not an add-on, it's an infrastructure. A lot of chatbots are out there that you can purchase, and I'm going to tell you those are going to fail. If you don't build AI into your infrastructure, those chatbot services are going to fail. They're not accessing enough data. They're not accessing a model that talks about your brand, your tone, and then underneath your own brand model is the foundational models, right? That's where ChatGPT 5 and 6 and Gemini and Claude and Perplexity, they're all going to have their own ways to manipulate your data as well. But if you're surfacing your own products on your own domain, you are back in control, right? So the old game, it's been 25 years that, I guess it was 1999 that OTA XML spec was created. It gained massive adoption through Marriott and Hilton were some of the founders. Just quick show of hands, how many are familiar with OTA XML, the Open Travel Alliance XML feed? So not many. So that is how the industry lost control of ARI. By feeding your availability rates and inventory to these through the Open Travel XML, you were giving Expedia and Booking.com the ability to own your guest, and we did that for the first 15 years of the internet. When mobile came out, we had a moment to get back out there and capture the customers again. We failed. Our industry failed again at mobile. And this is a third time where we can come in and level the playing field again, finally get those OTAs back to filling in gaps and not taking 50% of your hotel. So what we are moving towards in 2025 is where, I'm still talking about the demand and the capture. Here you see more of Google starting to make a big shift. How many, again, show of hands, are familiar with the Digital Markets Act in Europe? European? Only a couple. So what I would recommend is each of you go look up the Digital Markets Act. What they are doing is they're labeling gatekeepers like Booking.com, Booking Holdings, and Google Travel. They've labeled them as gatekeepers. They need to open up their inventory, how they're accessing inventory, and not pull it directly through this OTA XML feed anymore. So Google is going to start shifting where they're accessing your property inventory from, and we believe it's going to start being pulled not from Hotel Ad Center, but from your own website on your own endpoints, pulling in the direct ARI there, using a schema.org markup. So that's the big change that's coming. Last year, Google started supporting schema.org ARI. So you can now wrap up your hotel room, your price, and you can make it an offer that can be sold by an AI machine, right? With this XML feed, you weren't able to do that. So it's a new opportunity. We do suggest everyone begins marking up their booking engine inventory with this new structured markup. Some of the big players in the industry are already doing it from a CRS level. A company like Amadeus is already doing this for all of their clients. Other big CRSs and PMSs are going to adapt, but you as the hotelier, you need to know to ask your vendors these questions. Make sure it's in the machine-readable format. Make sure it is schema.org ARI. Here we're starting to see some of Google's moves with AI overviews too, where they're coming up with their own summaries for your product. And the biggest, the industry isn't shifting to AI right now because they're afraid of the answers. They don't know what the answers are going to be. But look, Google trusted enough to put it right in front of the customers in search. You have to start trusting it. You have to test it. Do it on certain pages that don't get a lot of traffic. But until you understand what your users are prompting, what they're putting in there, and what the AI response is going to be, you're never going to learn. And your systems need data for all the fun features of AI to actually be turned on and activated. So until you're collecting data, you can't start. And once you start collecting data, it's still 3-6 months before you have enough data to really activate some of these fun features. We at Agentic Hospitality use Google Cloud Platform, specifically their Vertex AI product, and we're able to manage all of that directly in there. This is what's coming. Because of the DMA, if you go search for any properties in Europe, this is the organic listing you're going to see. There is an item list carousel that appears on organic listings. Now, can you imagine these populating in AI overview and AI mode? I believe they will. Very soon, these are going to be surfaced. These are objects that can be clicked on, rented, reviewed, right? You can take action on these objects. That's what schema.org is affording these objects, is you can take action on them. So it's a big opportunity to get your hotel rooms marked up and be able to capture discovery directly from search again. And AI will be supporting this as it moves forward. So the new game, let's talk about agentic hotel distribution. Agentic hospitality is an AI native infrastructure, and it owns the guest journey. So what does it look like? Every signal comes in. We are then structuring those signals, and then we're routing them. We have a signal to action ratio, which scores a booking readiness for each user, so that we're able to see, is it a room we put in front of that user, or is it a dolphin cruise or dolphin tour, or is it F&B that the customer is looking for? So we can change the objects out depending on the AI conversation being had. And then you get to own it. This is where the data comes down to you. It's not a flat funnel anymore where I know the guest, went to step 1, step 2, then checkout. I get the whole conversation now. I get to understand the discovery, the thought process, how they put their trip together, and that all gets passed down to the property. So now I get the full query, I get the full intent, and I get the full action down at the property level. And you can leverage this in tools like Snowflake or Simon Data or Salesforce Marketing Cloud. You can dump all this conversation in there and use that for your remarketing and paid ads. So hotels can finally compete head-on with OTAs and AI gatekeepers by reclaiming their guest journey. So research spotlight. Alex, can you step aside so I can see my time? Okay, thank you. So let me go through a quick research spotlight. Is Universal Resorts in the room? Show of hand. Good. I'm going to pick on you for a second. Sorry. So one of the world's most competitive brands and one of the most competitive markets to Orlando. Billions spent on guest experience. But what we're finding is Universal Orlando Resorts' massive website has no structured markup. They are not able to capture any discovery because their objects aren't marked up. I did see Lowe's Hotel in here. Lowe's is managing these properties. If you go to Lowe's hotels, they do appear in AI search because they do have structured markup on their site. I am not able to find Universal Resorts anywhere in AI because they have no objects marked up. The only structured markup they have on their website is an article. So they're basically their parent company, NBC Universal. They're a news outlet. And that's not the case, right? They are selling accommodations. So even a big brand like this, the largest operators are exposed. So the opportunity is to get with your booking engine, get with your website providers, surface AI native on your website, and start testing this, because if big companies like this are going to miss it, it's going to be small cases where you are able to get out ahead of these. So if Universal Orlando can miss this, imagine the exposure for independent and mid-sized chains. That's why we created Agentic Hospitality, to close the gap before the OTAs do. You have to believe the OTAs are coming after this. The scariest one is Trip.com, sitting on $11 billion in cash. They have the best AI assistant right now, Genie. They are focusing it very much on APAC market, so it'll be interesting to see if they can readapt it for the US market. That is going to be a very big competitive player. Obviously, Booking has their moves, and Expedia will be there as well. But everybody's coming for the next set of commission, right? So that's the opportunity. Looking forward, there is the Digital Markets Act. Again, I want, only seeing a few hands is a little scary. Sanj Vikal is in the room, former Google. He could talk to you about some of the Digital Markets Act conversations, but basically being labeled a gatekeeper and being fined by the EU, they fine 10% of your total revenue for that year. So these two companies, Booking and Google Travel, a handful of days ago just got fined $30 billion. If they are a repeat offender, they go after 20% of annual revenue for those companies. So they are not going to keep paying these fees. They are going to change. We have to be ready as an industry to get off the OTA XML and start surfacing schema.org ARI so that we can be found in these AI native channels. So AI native infrastructure is the North Star for hotels. Without it, you'll always be renting your guests from someone else or another intermediary or OTA. So in closing, thank you. Uh, Join the Agentic hospitality movement and own the AI era of travel. So thank you.